Welcome, everybody. So tonight we're going to do two recipes. Last time we just did the one as a trial basis, but I think we can handle the two. So the first dish we're going to be making is a pasta dish. It was one of my grandmother's favorites. Just so the people who don't know me, I am Chef Darwin. I run the culinary programs here at Roswell. I primarily work in the East Roswell part because that's where our teaching kitchen is. So hopefully one day we'll get over to the west side. But other than that, you got to come over here to see me. So my claim to fame is my grandmother and grandfather own their own restaurant. My grandmother was a classically trained chef. So I grew up beside her learning everything that she did, and I've taken her recipes and kind of modernized them for me. And this is one of my favorite recipes. It's actually a two-pot meal. We're going to try to make it in 20 minutes, maybe 15. So here we go. So we're going to make a pasta dish. So the first thing we're going to talk about is pasta. Let's see here. Katie, let me know if you can see that okay, because you're just going to hear me talking. So tonight we're going to use orecchie pasta, which is basically little ear in Italian. And I probably messed that word up, and I apologize. And the great thing about this pasta is once we add the cheese to make the cheese sauce, the cheese will actually grip the pasta. And that's why we have so many different pastas in the world, because they do so many different things. And there's even a story about pasta, the big round whole pasta, being pasta used to covertly travel garlic across Italian lines. So we're going to be using this. I got a pot of boiling water. I'm just going to add my pasta into that. Y'all know how to cook pasta. We're going to add some salt. Always remember, when you're on a cooking show, especially a competition, and you don't salt your pasta water, they'll chop you. 9 times out of 10.
Darwin, can you move over just a little bit so we can see your pasta boiling? There you go.
How's that?
Perfect.
Okay, but we're just going to let that go. We are now going to start to cook our meat. So like I said, everything's going to happen in this pot. We're going to actually add the pasta to this to make our cheese. So tonight I'm using ground sausage, and I'm using a mild variety. This dish works great with any type of ground beef, ground chicken, ground turkey, ground sausage. The reason that I use ground sausage is because that it has all my spices in it. Therefore, I don't have to add any more spices. Hold on.
Hey, I love your Crocs. Those are awesome. Those are awesome.
A little bit of olive oil to help it out. And that's about a tablespoon or 2. I'm going to start to break this up. Okay? So like I said, you can use anything in this. If you use ground beef, ground turkey, ground chicken, you're going to have to add some spices. The great thing about sausage, like I said, it already has the spices in it. Tonight I'm using a mild variety of sausage. If you like hot, use hot. If you like sweet, use sweet. But just know that when you're using those types of sausages, that's what's going to happen to your dish. If you use sweet, it's going to be on the sweet side. Usually what I do is I mix half and half. I'll mix sweet with mild, sweet with hot. You can use sausage in the casing, just remove the casing. Okay? There's only 5 ingredients in this dish, and this is why I love it. My grandmother made this every Sunday. She made, on average, about 15 of these. It was served family style, usually with garlic green beans, garlic bread, and a very simple salad, because she wanted more of the emphasis to be on the dish.
That
Now-
sounds delicious. Hey, Darwin, I don't mean to interrupt you, but there's a question that came in.
Okay.
If someone is vegetarian, can you cook this with tofu?
Yes. And it goes on the same line. You're going to have to season your tofu. Now, the way to get around that, veggie crumbles. A, it looks like ground beef. And B, if you saute it with a little butter, it actually makes it taste a little more like a meat product. And I have done that in the past with kids. So all I'm going to do is brown this sausage to get it done. And I'm going to throw in some little sliced onions. But that's about all I'm going to add to this for texture and flavor wise. Okay? Notice I didn't put them in right away because I don't want my onions burnt. Just like garlic, if onions burn, then they taste a little nasty.
Hey, Darwin, can you tell us something special about your grandma?
Do what?
Tell us something special about your grandma.
She was 4'11". So my grandmother loved to cook. And when she designed the last house that they lived in, the kitchen was so small that only one person could be in there, and that was her. And
Smart lady, then she has
gathering-
control of her kitchen, right?
Yeah, she loved that control. She had 14 brothers and sisters total, and she loved to cook for all of them. And in fact, as we go further down the line, I will introduce you into some of the dishes she specifically designed for family members based on what they like. So we're just going to keep browning this sausage. You know, we don't want any E. coli. I'm going to also just wash my pasta a little bit. Okay. So I was telling Katie, I just spent 2.5 weeks with the military cooking for them up in the Georgia mountains. They were going to Ranger School. I've never seen boys put away so much food in all my life.
Goodness.
They ate one night 100 servings of mashed potatoes. I kid you not. All right. Now we're just going to turn our heat down to about medium low. Okay? Because I don't really want to overdo the sausage and the onion. You're going to notice that the onions are nice and yellow. They're becoming a little bit translucent. I'm not going to add any salt or pepper right now. Okay? And the reason being is I'm going to add some other flavors first, and then I'll come back and see if I need salt and pepper. By the way, another fabulous note, always taste your food before you add salt and pepper, especially at a host's house so you don't insult them. They actually teach that in business school now. My nephew, who's being a business, going into business management, learned that. All right, so this looks pretty done to me. I'm pretty good with it. So the next ingredient I'm going to add is a little bit more protein by the way of beans. And I'm going to add a white bean. These happen to be cannoli beans. You can add Great Northern beans, but it does need to be a white bean. Okay? Couple interesting facts about beans. The reason that they make us do that thing they do so well is because we can't digest the outer shell of beans. And all I'm going to do is fold this in. I don't want to mash the beans. I want the beans whole. That looks about pretty good. Now, pasta time. Just the way my grandmother taught me, shake it, cool it down. Pasta needs a couple more minutes.
So Darwin, we have a couple more questions.
Go for it.
Why white beans? Is it for the taste or the look of the dish?
A little bit of both. White beans generally are a little bit more bland than like kidney beans, black beans, pinto beans. But it also, because the sauce for this is going to be white, it blends in quite well, especially if you're trying to hide it from a child.
Okay, well, that's good. Oh, and people have said that they want a picture of grandma. So we'll have to get one so we can post it next
Lord,
time.
Picture of grandma. All right, we'll have to get a picture of grandma. I think I have a couple.
Okay.
I have one of her and my grandfather at their 50th wedding anniversary.
Oh, how wonderful.
So I'll use that one.
Okay, that'll be wonderful.
So, sausage, onions, beans, pasta. Notice, I'm just taking the pasta out of the pot. I'm not draining the pasta because I actually want some of that pasta water, and I'll explain to you why in just a minute.
So this is orchetta pasta, right?
Yeah, this is the orecchie, or however they say it, meaning little ears. And see, you can now see it. It's kind of expanded, so now it looks a little bit more like an ear. All right, so we're just going to fold that in. Dish is coming together. Still no salt, still no pepper. All right, got some fresh oregano. And all I'm going to do is pick the leaves off, throw them in there. I don't want the stems because stems are woody and they don't taste that good. The oregano is just going to kind of brighten the dish up. You can use dried, but it doesn't really have the same effect.
I just looked it up. It's pronounced ore. Wait a minute. Oh my God. Ore. I'm going to do it. You'll probably hear it. Orecchiette.
Yeah, not Italian.
It's orecchietta, I think. If it's like it is in Italian, orecchietta.
The other one was from the Merriam-Webster dictionary. Isn't that hilarious?
Is it a double C sound?
Now, I told you we're going to make a cheese sauce. We are, but we're going to make it in this pot because we're going to use one cheese. And the cheese that we're going to use is mascarpone. So mascarpone is the Italian version of American cream cheese. I'm not an American cream cheese fan. I think it's too sweet. Mascarpone doesn't have a whole lot of flavor to it because you can use this in sweet and savory dishes. In fact, I make a white chocolate cup with a mascarpone dark chocolate orange filling that goes inside. And maybe on the next class, we'll get really adventurous and do that. Okay? You find this in the aisle where you find all your cheeses, like your gorgonzola, your blue cheese crumbles. It's usually right there next to ricotta. Now you do, just put it in. That's your cheese sauce. And what we're going to do is we're going to start to mix it all together so that the cheese melts, creates our sauce. Now, the reason I didn't throw the pasta water away is if this gets too thick, I can use a little bit of the pasta water with that starch in it to thin it down. It looks like I may need to add some too. This dish is great served the night of, but to me, it's even better served the next day. If it sits all night and then you heat it back up, throw it in the oven for about 20 minutes on 350. And you notice how the cheese is melted. We are going to add just a little pasta water. Not a whole lot.
Chef Darwin, do you add any garlic to this dish or not any?
You can, but I didn't because I'm using that mild sausage. And that mild
Oh, that's right, and it
sausage.
already has some in there, right?
All right. Guess what? It's done. Top this with a little more oregano.
I love your easy dishes. Looks so good, Chef Darwin.
I teach this to my kids when I have cooking classes, and I teach it to my adults. And I have not found a person yet that doesn't like it. Okay?
So was your grandma Italian?
No, we're French Canadian.
Okay, so there was a question, if you're not Italian, why did grandma cook so much pasta?
Because it's a comfort food, and she loved comfort food. My grandmother was on the wavelength that a good restaurant did not have to be fancy, that you didn't have to get that 23-pound steak, that you could prepare something as simple as this, put it in the middle, let people serve themselves, and they would be happier. So a lot of the recipes that I do, she started, and then I've modified them. For instance, she sometimes would use sausage, ground beef. I went with ground beef. I went with sausage more than anything because I happen to like sausage. So the dish is done. You know what? Just a little pepper. Now, a couple of things about the dish. The beans are going to be a little more crunchy. They're not going to be soft and soggy. But see, you can barely see the beans in this dish. And that's one way that my grandmother got me to eat beans. I like green beans. I don't like any other beans. Man, I wish there were people here to eat this.
We wish we could all eat it.
If I start eating it, that's it, guys.
You know, Darwin, I'm 10 minutes for not even, like 5. I could come over right away.
Perfect. All right, let me do a little cleanup here because I'm going to switch a little bit because this one involves kind of a unique ingredient. And I don't know who requested it, but I had to dig for this recipe, and luckily my grandmother had one, which when my grandmother passed away, my mother inherited her china, we'll say cookbook, and all her linens and stuff. My mother has retired and travels now, so they have no use for it. So I now inherited my grandmother's china and all of that. Her cookbook is a box with papers thrown in it. And I've been slowly, because it's very painstakingly going through and trying to scan the original document that she wrote or that she had, and then transcribing it. And, you know, handwriting back then wasn't a thing. And some of it's really hard to figure out, but it's a fun process. So when Katie asked me to do this again, she wanted something with flowers. I'm like,
well, yes. And so let me fill everybody in, and you're so gracious to do that. So September, we had two flower events where the North Fulton Garden Club came and shared some wonderful information on flowers with us. So we thought it would be perfect timing, since this was October 1st, to extend that and cook with some edible flowers. So thank you for being so wonderful, Darwin.
So I dug through my grandmother's box, literally, for 2 nights to find a recipe that she might have used flowers in, because I don't ever remember her giving me a flower to eat. And I found one. It was very simple. 3 ingredients: granola, some yogurt, and flowers. I was like, all right, I can do this. So the first thing about edible flowers I'm going to tell you is grow your own or buy them online. Do not go to Home Depot and buy the pansies, because you know they probably got stuff in them that you probably don't need to eat. So luckily I grow a lot of pansies during this time of year, and I get my pansies online from a friend of mine who does everything organically. So we got some little pansies tonight. Now, great thing about pansies is you can coat them in sugar, put them on cakes, put them on muffins. You actually can just chomp away at them. You get one. I'll hold the back stem up. Okay, they really have no taste. It's just like eating grass, but it's fun. It's a very, you need something to kind of wake your guests up. This is the way to do it. All right. So, hold on. Trying to get my camera resituated so you guys can see what I'm going to do. How's that? A little closer, Katie, or?
Oh, that a little down a little farther if we need to see where your empty glass is.
Go down?
Yes, please.
How's that?
Yeah, that's good.
All right.
Thank you.
3 ingredients. I like vanilla. Sorry. Whole milk. Granola. I'm using Bare Naked because I trust them and I know what goes into their granola. And it's a non-GMO product, which means there's nothing artificial added. That was their claim to fame. So all I'm going to do is build a parfait. So I'm going to put a little granola in the bottom. A little granola.
Can you move your parfait over towards the end of the counter, please? Yeah, back that way. There, we can see it.
All right. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to get my nephew next time to walk around. Okay? I'm not going to add flowers because all it's going to do is make them soggy. So I'm just going to add a little more granola. A little more. Now, if you like honey, add honey. If you like Greek yogurt, use Greek yogurt. I like this blended yogurt. I'm not a big yogurt fan, but I'll eat this. Voila. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Very easy, very simple. Makes it look like spring. Do it on a really cold morning. You'll feel all better inside. But that is the only recipe that I have found from my grandmother using flowers. But now, not only can you use pansies, you can use carnations, chrysanthemums are the three, with the pansies, are the three most popular flowers to eat. You can also use zucchini bulbs, fill that with a little bit of a mascarpone ricotta mixture, fry them in a little bit of oil. And they're actually really good. I was thinking for the next one, we'll do the white chocolate cups and the mascarpone dark chocolate filling, and maybe my grandmother's tequila sauce. But does anybody have any questions?
So Darwin, somebody mentioned that they use orchids also.
Yes.
And I know that we had mentioned that it was going to be lemon yogurt. So if you were going to make that yogurt lemon, is that just literally squeezing lemon juice in it, or do you do something different?
Yeah, no. The recipe that I'll send you will have the lemon in it. And all you got to do is just squeeze it. I just don't have any lemons on hand. The ones at the store look gross. And I'm one of these people that if I don't like it, I'm not going to buy it. I'm fussy about my produce.
Do you ever take flowers and kind of chop them up or do anything different with them where they would be all included in a recipe?
So I'm glad that you just said that, because an idea just popped into my head. Those pansies would actually really look good on the simple salad for the pasta dish, because it would brighten it right. Instead of that green, now you would have the mix of the reds and the purples and the yellows. So there's another way to use flesh flowers, especially in the spring mix, because I think that that would be really, really, really good. You can also, I believe, eat flour and kale, but I got to research that one.
Chef Darwin, do you add the lemon to the yogurt and then mix it up, or do you just squeeze it on top?
You can do it either way. It all depends on your preference. If you like the yogurt if you like the lemon in the yogurt, go ahead. I'm a person, I like to add things on top, especially if I'm going to eat some Greek yogurt. I like then to add the nuts and the honey and everything on top.
Anybody, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to unmute and ask Chef Darwin a question.
I think we had one question from the group. Were the beans that you used, the white beans, were they canned or were they pre-cooked? Does it make a difference in your cooking?
It does not make a difference. If you want to cook them prior to, you can. But also remember, when canned foods go through their assembly line, they're actually heated up to kill any and all bacteria. So basically, they are being cooked. The only thing is just to rinse them to get rid of all that starchy water that's in the can with them, because you don't want that. That's going to make this really, really, really gummy.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I'm so excited. I can't wait to get those recipes and try that myself.
As always, I will send the recipes to you probably when I get home.
Thank you so much. And Chef Darwin, these are fabulous recipes. I hope everybody enjoys them. I can't wait to try them. Mike Harris, you are on board with us. And Mike Harris is the president of our Friends of Mimosa Hall and Gardens. Can you say hello, please?
I can say hello. Hello, everybody. Yeah. That was really, really appetizing. I was taking notes, and I'm looking forward to trying. Oh my God. I guess I needed wine. Yeah, I'm looking forward to trying that. So, and my wife loves yogurt, so I think I do that dessert one with yogurt. So that looked really, really good. So thank you. It was great having you guys here. It was great having Chef Darwin again. I can't wait to see what he does next go round. And it was a great crowd. A lot of people showed up, and we thank you for attending. I'd love for you to, if you're not members, to join us. If you would, after this call ends, if you go to our website, if you haven't joined us, you can go to our yeah, there you go. Go to the Get Involved page, and you can see how you can do a lot of things. Uh, uh, it talks to you, yeah, it talks about how you can volunteer, how you can donate money, how you can become a member, how you can even join our Phoenix Circle. And these are all ways to help us produce programming and events for the community. In a few months, we will have the oldest net zero house in the Americas. And that has been sort of our big focus. And there's a considerable amount of construction going on at the property right now. So very soon you'll be able to go onto the property, see the house, and we hope soon be able to go in the house as soon as the COVID thing is over and we can start coming in. But you can get to enjoy it. But we've got a lot of work to do. We're excited about what's coming. There's, as Gina said in the chat there, there's the garden tour you get on the website as well. And there's a lot of interesting things we're doing. So we want you to be a part. If you like what you saw today, invite your friends to join in on the next one. There are talks on all sorts of things coming up. And if you get our newsletter, you'll see that. But there's one on sustainability, and our friends from Georgia Pacific will be joining us for that. And we're excited about that. Glad you're here. Join us, join us, join us. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. And then I'd also like to introduce you Dr. Sarah Harwood. She is also one of our board members, and she helped to create this amazing virtual garden tour, the Neil Reed Gardens, which is kind of one of our claims to fame at Mimosa Hall. And we're really excited about it. So we want to just give you the information so that you know where you can go to take this tour on your own. So Sarah, take it away.
Hey, hi everybody. I hope you all can hear me. I'm going to share my screen in just a second so I can show you the garden tour and run through it really quick with you. So everyone can hear me, I hope. Okay, I'm saying nodding, so great. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Now this is actually a mobile optimized tour, so it's actually best viewed on your cell phone, but as you can see, you can also see it in your browser, no problem. It's just that it is optimized for you to have your cell phone. We started to design it about a year ago, and it is funded by the Roswell Women's Club, so thank you to them for doing this. And it was originally planned that you'd be able to take your phone, walk around the property, and learn more about the garden. Now, as it happens, you can learn about the garden while not being able to be present in the garden. So it's going to work both ways. So if you want to look on your phone and go along with me, that's awesome. Otherwise, you can explore it later. The website, as you can see at the top here, is mimosagardens.org. And so if you open it on your phone, you'll see a little map that kind of directs you around. It looks kind of big on the computer screen, but this property, as you know, was purchased in 1918 by Neil Reed, and he redesigned the garden. There had been historically a couple of smaller gardens, a vegetable garden and a flower garden on the property, and a kitchen garden. So those had been there. They seem to have been destroyed pretty much during the Civil War. And so Neil Reed had this vision and designed garden rooms, majority of which are still there and are being restored right now by the city. We, the Friends of Mimosa, restored the Reflecting Pool Garden with a grant from the Garden Club of Georgia. So that was wonderful, and the rest of them are also being restored. So you get a bit of a map of the property. And the individual gardens that we're highlighting on this website. And in the top right corner, if you're on your phone, there's a little sandwich menu, and that's what you can click on to get to each garden. So I'm going to just kind of start in order with the lawn. And what you will get to do is read a little bit about the history of that particular garden. Each one has its own individual story. And I get into the history of that garden, how it developed, what it might have looked like before, how it's changed over the years. And then there are some photos of some of the unique plants or trees that exist in that portion of the garden. So we have these beautiful cedars, for example. The cedars, I need to highlight them since I'm talking to you. These cedars are believed to be antebellum. They would be about as old as the house itself. So one of the few existing elements of plant life from before Neil Reed. So these would have been planted probably 1840 or so, and likely they were actually planted to line the original driveway. Neil Reed ended up changing out the driveway from being heart-shaped to being a straight fieldstone drive, which is gorgeous, but we think that the cedars actually show the outline of the original drive. So they're one of the really incredible historic trees that we have on the property. There are a few of them around. And anyway, so there are highlights of some of the different trees, architectural and hardscape features of the property as well. And so the front lawn is just the one that you see at the front of the house, but we've got different gardens that are highlighted around the property. The kitchen garden is to the east of the house, and it's the one that has a mimosa tree. Mimosa Hall was named for the mimosa trees. We also have an incredible ironwood or parodia, incredible for its size especially. It doesn't look quite as impressive on a screen as it does in person, but when I click and open it, you can see just how enormous this tree is. So it's a really unusual specimen. So I highlight some of these things in this garden tour, and you can take your time and look through. And as you see, if you click on it or tap on it on your phone, you can see the picture in bigger size, so you can actually zoom in and see some of the features in greater detail. I'm gonna continue around to the other side of the house, the reflecting pool. This is the one that we helped to restore with the grant from the Garden Club of Georgia. Now, what's funny about this property, there are these beautiful daylilies. So when we were first looking at the reflecting pool, read about the fact that Reed had planted daylilies, but there was nothing blooming there because there was so much growth with all the trees overhanging that it was just like moss on the ground. But after we had the trees pruned, had all of the privet that was surrounding it and the boxwood trimmed back to a reasonable size, it was all hand pruned and done by hand, then these daylilies shot right up. So they just look absolutely beautiful, and some azaleas have started to bloom beside the pool too. So some incredible blooming is actually happening in that area. Another thing actually in this picture that you can see just to the east of the house is an Osage orange tree, another historic tree that likely would be antebellum. In the early days, the founders of Roswell had Osage orange trees planted along the outside of their house because Osage oranges, the monkey brains as they're sometimes called, they're like these green bulbous kind of fruit, not oranges, but they're called Osage oranges. They're believed to ward off insects and flies. So it was popular to have those built around the side of the house so that they would keep the flies out of the house. So we still have one, as you can see, very close to the house. The weeping garden personally is one of my favorites. The pool is no longer there. This was actually one of Reed's gardens that he planted as a rose garden. It was a sunken rose garden. It seems like it was gorgeous. And so, you know, it's unfortunate that it's gone. A pool was put in, but I guess on the positive side, it was actually taken out almost right after it was planted. The rose garden was removed likely in the 1930s, but it was gone by 1945. So a good 20 years after it was planted, it was already gone. And then we have a pool instead. But the pool has been closed up for safety purposes. But the weeping garden is just beside the pool. And it's one of my favorites because it has some of the most unique plants, including this black walnut tree, which is an enormous tree, one of the biggest black walnuts in the Atlanta area, and also historic. As you can see, there aren't really any weeping plants in the weeping garden anymore, but there historically were weeping cherry trees. But the walnut is older than all of them because it's likely as old as the house. And it's incredible to think about what these historic trees have witnessed, how much the property has changed over the years, how much life has changed, society has changed over the years. And these trees have been standing there and blooming every season throughout all that time. It's just majestic and incredible to think about, I think. So I recommend taking a look through the website, thinking about it, reading the information, contacting us if you have questions. The nice thing about a website is it can be updated. So I am hoping that, you know, as we do more research, as we learn more about the property, as the restoration is ongoing, that we'll be able to add even more to the website. So it's a work in progress still. I mean, it's complete right now, but we'd like to add more, make it even better. And I don't know if you can see, but at the right side, I have the screen kind of shared, so it's kind of blocking where I can click. So the last portion is the parterre garden. Parterres became popular in the 16th and 17th centuries, but Neil Reed decided to install one at his house. And the idea is that you can look down from the windows of the home over this symmetrical garden. So they're another beautiful element of the property. And beside the parterre gardens is the allée, which is a tree-lined walk, and that actually leads down to the Bullock Hall property. And historically, probably is another element that dates to about the time that the house was built. The allée, since it leads to Bullock Hall, was probably put there to be a path between Mimosa and Bullock, because Mimosa Hall was built for John Dunwoody and Jane Dunwoody, and Bullock Hall was built for James and Martha Bullock. And James Bullock was actually the brother of Jane Dunwoody, who lived at Mimosa Hall. So they're sibling homes and siblings living in each house. So it makes sense that they would want their kids to play together and go and visit back and forth along the alley. That gives you a really quick overview of our garden website. And again, it's mobile optimized, so it's best to look at on the phone, but as you can see, it's clearly visible on a computer screen as well. And I've been sharing my screen, so I can't see any questions, but I've noticed some are popping up. So I'll go ahead and stop sharing so I can see what your questions are.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Does anyone have any questions for Sarah? I was just posting on while you were talking. The gardens and the property is absolutely beautiful. Sarah was instrumental in helping me at the time when we were working on the update to the gardens and just the facility itself, to just get it ready to take those historic boxwoods and get them cleaned up, but done in a right way. And like you said, hand pruned, and making sure that the gardens and that whole property was opened up and ready for us when we opened a couple of years ago now on our ribbon cutting was on Earth Day. So Earth Day, which it makes perfect sense to be our forever anniversary, you know, especially with the sustainability mission that we have here at Mimosa Hall. And you know, we're just so excited. So thank you for all your work on it. And Sarah, Dr. Harwood is amazing. She is our historian as well. She worked so hard to really piece the story of the home together and the people who built it and lived there, and you know, everything that's happened at the home. So there's so much more to come, but it is just absolutely beautiful. I lived on the property for about a year, honestly, because we were working on it constantly to get it open. And it was just a joy and so peaceful. And I you know, you go outside and, you know, the outdoors anyway gives you that kind of peace and serenity. But when you walk this property, you will feel exactly what we're talking about. You'll feel as if you were back in history. I remember talking to Sarah and saying, could you imagine growing up here and running around on this property and running back and forth, you know, down the LA to your cousins, and, you know, just the joy of what that would have been like to grow up on a property like that. So it's just, and in a time like that, although I wouldn't want to, I was fourth out of 8, so I would have had kind of dirty bath water as the 4th kid down. Luckily not the 8th, but you know, when he had to share. So there's some good and bad things about those times.
Exactly.
Katie, I just want to echo your thanks to Dr. Harwood, because she has spent a lot of time with us, getting others interested, like the group that we have tonight. I want to put in a shameless plug for, I think it's our next scheduled event, which is Thursday, October 15th. I hope many on this call will join us. And this talk was actually a good segue for that. We've been talking about sustainability. Dr. Harwood does a great job of highlighting the black walnut and the ironwood that's on the property. We will have Georgia Pacific joining us on that, and I know that they're interested in the future, and hopefully for Arbor Day this spring. We're already talking about, Gina Sen is on the line right now. We've been talking about their interest in sustainable forestry and what they have done to contribute to that, but really highlighting some of those trees that Dr. Harwood has done such a great job getting others plugged into about the history. So please look for it. I know our communications director is on the line. However, we can do that, Candace Curley, to get these folks plugged into all of our events coming up. But Thursday, October 15th, we'll be talking about the specifics of how we're about to make Mimosa the oldest net zero home, as Kara said, in the Americas. So thanks so much for putting this on, Katie, and to Chef Darwin and Dr. Harwood. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Candace, anything, or are we good?
I think we're good. I know that we'd like to show everybody our final screen, just showing them about Chef Darwin and Mimosa Hall, but please sign up for our newsletters, watch us on social media. We have so much going on, from the gardens to the alternative energy initiatives to just trying to save this beautiful gem, and we'd love for you to join us on this journey. So do follow us on social media, sign up for our newsletter, and if you have the ability to assist us financially, we'd love to have you come aboard.
Thanks, Candace. We want to just thank everybody tonight. Chef Darwin, you rock. And we're going to talk about November and December and what we're going to bring, but it'll be fun because we're getting to the holidays. So I'm kind of excited. Any thoughts?
Well, let's see. For November, I don't know. I got some tricks up my sleeve for December, though.
Okay, good. We can't wait.
I will move the white chocolate cup to December because that's really a good party pleaser.
Thank you.
I'll come up with some ideas for you.
Okay, great. Everyone, it's just been an absolute joy to host you tonight. We love having you. If again, I put in there if you have any suggestions for events or even any kinds of recipes you'd like to see or anything in the future, we will definitely, we'd love to hear from all of you. Please keep in touch with us through our newsletters to see what's going on. There's a lot of things. As soon as things keep picking up from COVID, it's going to go quickly. So we're excited about the pace of things to come with this property, and we can't wait. So we appreciate it. Chef Darwin, you are the best. I want to, he's going to get Grandma Ruth's recipes to us, and we will get those on paper. We will email them out to everyone. Thank you again for joining. We really appreciate you, and you guys have a great night.